Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This video is pre-recorded. As for those that know that watch my channel, I am currently at Black Hat and DEF CON in Vegas as I left yesterday. This is going to be a little mini series on what is a C2 command and control. The next 3 videos, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, also pre-recorded, will be about Sliver, how to install Sliver, creating an agent, and not sure what the third one's going to be yet. We'll figure that out. But right now, we are just going to go over the baseline high level of what a C2 command and control framework is. Slight mitigations, we'll go over some of those, and detections as well. So let's hop right in. So in this video, what is a C2 command and control framework? People have different names I've been hearing, calling it different things. Always be C2 to me, command and control. So let's go into the next page. Again, this is just going to be a high-level overview of what it is, what it does, some mitigation techniques, detections, etc. So, C2 command and control. The definition of a C2 refers to the systems and infrastructure used by attackers or security teams, red teams, to control and manage compromised devices or networks remotely. Now, the purpose of these C2 frameworks, command and control, is to facilitate communication between an attacker and their targets, often to issue commands, exfiltrate data, and maintain persistent access. Key components. C2 server, central server where the attacker manages compromised systems. C2 protocols, methods for communication, HTTP, HTTPS, DNS, custom protocols, and then the agents, software running on compromised systems that receive and execute commands from the C2 server. Uses in attacks, data exfiltration, stealing sensitive information, persistence, maintaining ongoing access to a network system even when it's shut down, turns back on, something is executed, they're able to have persistence and maintain access. Lateral movement, moving through a network to escalate privileges, meaning you get on from one endpoint to the other, to a server, to whatever, gaining control on different devices, maintaining lateral movement, meaning going across the path, the forest, whatever you want to call it, especially in AD, trying to escalate privileges, gaining higher and higher access. So again, now let me just touch on the key components. So you need an actual server, right? So these servers are mainly going to be DigitalOcean, Vulture. Normally those are done by red teams, threat actors, APTs, or whatever the hell you want to call them. People have different acronyms and shit that they want to call these things. I like to use CrowdStrike's names. I don't know how they come up with those, but I love the names that they've given, and also the action figures above. So usually you need not usually, you are going to need a server. Mainly it's going to be in those two. Now you can do it in AWS, Azure, Google. You need to do some special nurturing for those because they will take it down if it's not done correctly. And then also you're going to have your client, right? Havoc, C2, Cobalt Strike. You're going to have your client. Some of them offer multiplayer modes, similar to Legolo MP. Sliver, which I just did, also does multiplayer mode. So you could have different people join the client connected to the server. Now the agents, those are what you create, and those are what you're going to obfuscate and also deploy onto the endpoints, or through a phishing technique, or have someone disguise. If you're able to go on to Teams, there has been I wanted to actually reproduce that, where you use Teams as a C2 command and control server. You're able to upload a link, maybe their CEO, CISO, and they download it, upload it, and there it is, boom. So there's different ways you could do these to apply and get these agents onto their infrastructure, network, endpoints, etc., and have them execute them. C2 frameworks. Now, obviously the big one, Cobalt Strike, which I use, have a license for legally through Fortra, have their own platform. Their, I guess, the Red Team platform. I think they changed it recently. Cobalt Strike, Core Impact, Outflank. Outflank also has their own C2, which I'm going to be learning at DEF CON how to use, or well, Black Hat and DEF CON. One of the guys I'm staying with. Sliver, which I just used, more of a POC, quote unquote, and or purple teaming event. POC Core Light, comparing it to Dark Trace, making sure that it captures not only the C2 detections, events, but also it does annotate Sliver. It picks it up. So when you go to the actual search and log, and it shows you, you search for, let's say you ran Metasploit, whatever agent, it's going to show that it was picked up and ran through Sliver, C2. Mythic, I have never really used Mythic myself. It's pretty similar from what I've seen on some of the YouTube videos. More so of like Havoc. I've used Havoc. To me, again, I haven't used Mythic, but just from what I've seen from the YouTube videos, it kind of resembles Havoc a bit. The other one, like I said, Outflank has their C2. Haven't used it. Going to build that out next week at DEF CON Black Hat from one of the friends I'm staying with. Empire is an older one, I believe. I've never used that one either, but I have seen it in action myself. Havoc, Sliver, and Adaptix I've been playing with, and then obviously Cobalt Strike. Those are the ones I'm familiar with. Just wanted to throw one that I'm not familiar with on there just to give some context, but it is similar to Havoc from what I've seen in the videos, just from not usage. So I could be wrong. C2 evasion and detection. Evasion techniques, encryption, protecting C2 traffic with encryption to hide communication patterns and payloads, stealthy communication channels using common protocols, DNS tunneling, HTTP over port 443 to blend in with normal network traffic, beaconing, periodically sending small, seemingly I never heard that word before, requests to avoid triggering anomaly-based detections. So these are going to be sent out very, very slowly, really, really slow. I mean, if you're going to be sending them real quick, they're obviously going to get picked up and detected. Mimicking legitimate traffic, C2 traffic designed to resemble normal business communications, mimicking web or email traffic. So from this, I assume this would be like AWS, Google, Azure redirectors, kind of mimicking AWS, Azure traffic, Google as well. Actually, White Knight Labs has a course for that, ATROC. I get all these acronyms mixed up. But they teach you how to build the C2 framework over Terraform using AWS, Azure, and Google redirect. Detection mechanisms, traffic analysis, identifying unusual patterns such as excessive traffic to a C2 server or anonymous port usage. A lot of these have their default ports, so make sure you're able to, however you do it, sometimes these ports will get picked up. Cobalt has their own port, Sliver has their own port. So however you want to do it, make sure you're able to, blend in, change it up if you need to. Behavioral analysis, monitoring for abnormal system behavior or unexpected processes running on endpoints. This is where CrowdStrike would come in with their deep machine learning on unexpected behavior or processes on the endpoints from a user standpoint, where they do something out of the normal, out of the blue, and they're able to utilize and isolate the threat. Heuristics, using signature-based or anomaly-based detection technique to identify known C2 traffic or suspicious activities on a hash, things that are picked up by VirusTotal. So like Outflank, if someone uses their shit, in a bad, malicious way, they're able to detect that through VirusTotal, and your ass is grass. You will never be able to use Fortran again, and I think they'll even get the law on you, from how I read that correctly, because a lot of those tools are considered ITAR. And you have to sign documentation before you get Cobalt Strike, Core, and Outflank. At least Cobalt Strike. I'm not sure about the other two, how that would work, but you will need it for Cobalt. Through Fortra. That is non-negotiable, or else they will not issue you your license. DNS analysis, detecting DNS tunneling or other covert communication channels by analyzing DNS queries for patterns that deviate from the norm. And again, these are just basic, high level stuff that you could get more granular, especially with some of the tools you use. Don't use Sentinel-1 or Darktrace because they probably won't work. Key takeaways and best practices. Understanding C2 frameworks. C2 frameworks are essential tools for attackers to maintain control over compromised systems, but they also are crucial in red teaming and penetration testing. Popular C2 frameworks include, as we talked about, Cobalt Strike, Sliver, Empire, and Mythic, each with unique strengths in communication, stealth, and modularity. Evasion and detection challenges. C2 frameworks employ sophisticated evasion techniques, including encryption, traffic obfuscation, and DNS tunneling to avoid detection. Network traffic analysis and behavior monitoring are key to detect C2 communication and preventing malicious action. Best practices. Red teaming and purple teaming regularly test defenses by simulating real-world attacks using C2 frameworks to find vulnerabilities. Now, as I spoke about, we just completed a POC with Corelight, comparing it to Darktrace. What picks up what? Does it actually do what it says it does? And yes, Darktrace does have the best happy hours. I got banned from them. However, their AI is horseshit and does not work. Corelight literally does what it says. It literally says we will pick up and identify Sliver, and it does. Corelight is really, really amazing tool. I would highly recommend that to anyone if they can use it. And they also have their home version, something NDR, home NDR. You could build that using pies, but you need a firewall setup. And then you could deploy that within your home lab and or network. And it's free. Layered security, implement a multi-layered defense strategy, including firewalls, EDR, SIM, and threat intelligence to provide comprehensive protection. Again, not just have the latest and greatest tools, have tools that are not only going to work, but are going to work together, but also make sure they are configured and fine-tuned to your organization and team's needs. That is key. Don't just buy tools, throw them on there, and say, all right, we're good to go now, because that's not going to work. Right? You're just going to waste money and someone's going to get canned. Employee training, educate staff on the importance of vigilance and secure practices to prevent initial compromises, phishing, weak controls, etc. Real issue that happened, call center employee gets a phishing link on his personal phone, forwards it from his personal email to his work email, clicks the link on his laptop. Luckily, things did not escalate. Training comes in key, and make sure you have preventative measures to prevent shit that happens like that, because that will blindside you usually on a late Friday night and or Christmas, New Year's Eve. Trust me, I've been through them, not just on the cyber side, but also the physical side as well. And they are not fun, and people get pissed off. And that is a thank you to this little short intro for command and control. What is a C2 command and control? And again, the videos, I know what the third video is. So tomorrow's video, which again, these are pre-recorded. Tuesday will be install, setup, the server and client for Sliver. Wednesday's video will be creating an agent. And Thursday's video is we'll be using MSF console proxy chains with Sliver. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm just going to do basic ones because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get my YouTube taken down. And I still have an issue creating the pivoting SMB agent. So if I could pull that off before these are recorded, I'll throw that in there as well. But again, I'm not going to go into too much detail. They have the wiki where you could read it. I don't want to get my YouTube flagged or taken down. They took it down for the advent of Cyber 17 or 16. I forgot which one, whatever. And I was just like really shocked about advent of Cyber when everyone was doing it. But I am not going to be a hater. I'm just going to do the basic ones. And then you guys can take it from there. I'll leave the links to the wiki and the videos coming up. So that's it for this video. Please tune in to these pre-recorded videos. And if you want me to do more or even a training or course on C2 Sliver, I can do Cobalt Strike, but not everyone's going to have the license, so it wouldn't make sense. but I could do one on Sliver, Havoc, or even me learning Adaptics currently. Let me know in the chat. And again, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.